when you arrive, if you are finished with your Civil War reenactment research notes, which I hope you are, you should make sure you upload those to Canvas. You can also have open the Civil War reenactment project details for reference. In terms of download, you're going to want to download the Civil War reenactment script template, but why don't you wait on that? Because if you're in a group, you only want one person to do this, and you're going to want to do it to Google Drive, not Notability, because you're going to want to share it with each other so you can all work on the same document. And even if you're working as an individual, you still want to do it to Google Drive, because eventually you're all going to be sharing it with me so I can give you feedback. And it's really hard for me to do that if it's in a Notability. Okay, the other download, there is an example Civil War reenactment script that you can download for reference that we'll be looking at in class in a few minutes as well. All right, for the homework, you should continue to work on your script, which you're going to start today. You'll have additional time tomorrow during my time. Okay, you're going to be meeting by your history course to work on your script. Okay, so today we are talking about script writing for your Civil War reenactment. Let's go ahead with some learning targets. Learning targets are: I can analyze my research to find important information about my Civil War topic, utilize my research to construct a reenactment, design stagecraft to support the reenactment as shown through a finished script. All right, so what's the plan? Well, I'm gonna actually have you watch this reenactment example on your own after you're done with these slides. But I will kind of give you a heads up of how I would have evaluated it. It's a reenactment that Mrs. Krause and I made on the end of the Civil War with the surrender at Appomattox Courthouse. So again, once you're done with this video, watch that video to get a good idea of what an example would look like. I'm gonna also give some tips on how to write the script. Then once you're done watching this video and the reenactment example video, then you can go ahead and get to work time. If you still need to finish your research, that's where you start. Then if you're in a group, you want to compare your research, get together, discuss what you learned about your topic, and then it's time to begin work on your script. Okay, so now the reenactment example, you'll see a link for it in Canvas. You're going to watch it, and what I would say is after you're watching it, you could certainly look at the rubric, but I'll tell you how I would grade it. I do think it has a lot of rich, important historical details. So in terms of the content, it goes through a lot, and we'll look at the script in a second, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'd give it a 10 for that. You're going to see for the props, backgrounds, costumes that there's some good points and some bad. We did utilize a green screen effect in Flipgrid that you can do. And so like the first background is a historic photo of Richmond, Virginia. So that I think would teach additional information about the topic because we're seeing what it looked like. And other than that, they were pretty basic. We used some name tags to identify themselves. And so that supported the content of the topic. So I'd probably go with about a 9.5 there. And then the production quality, I think it's pretty creative. It has 3 different scenes, 3 different settings. It's an appropriate length. You're going to go for 2 to 3 minutes in this. So I think that wouldn't be too bad. All right, so let's keep going. Again, look at that when you're done. And this is going to be the example script. So this is what you will see when you watch it, but you are going to see that there is good details. There is dates, there's places, there's details about why, for instance, they're leaving Richmond, Virginia, where they're going. There's some action. There's surrender terms that were the actual ones, etc. So those are all good to look at, and it's good to look at that example. Now you're going to be using a template, which is going to match what I am doing. And the template, I'm going to look right here. Ignore the knocking. This is advisory right now. People are knocking on my door trying to get in. Okay, so this is the template. It matches the example, so you can just write down for each scene the characters, the props and costumes, the setting, the script. And you might have 3 scenes, you might only have 2. It's kind of up to you how you want to do that. If you are working in a group, I definitely would divide up jobs, but make sure you communicate who's doing what and make sure that, for instance, if someone's doing scene 1 and someone's doing scene 2, that they make sense together. Some other hints, you want to, again, use your research. Go back to your research to make sure you're including historical detail. It's good to do that with like subtitles and things like that. Include things like who, what, where, when, why, how. Add props, costumes, backgrounds to support the content, teach more info. So for instance, I use that example of how we used a background slide of an actual historical picture from the time. You could do that as well in Flipgrid. Try and be creative, check the length of your script, reference the script example. That'll give you a good idea if it's long enough, etc. Okay, now when you do finish your script, that is when you share it with me. Don't share it until you are done, because I will give you feedback in an unfinished script and we don't want that. So make sure that you share it with me when you are done.